Hello nerds and nerdettes, and welcome back to the channel where once again we have a new video for you guys. With the month of August coming to a close, that means we have another haul video. So this video will be everything that I picked up throughout the month of August, whether that be manga, indie titles, or releases from the big two. But before we get into the haul itself, a quick reminder for those of you that are interested in any of the books that I'm about to feature or any of the books that I've reviewed to use the channel sponsor organicpricebooks.com. Use the discount code STAYNERDY for $2 off your order, or when ordering 3 or more books, you can use the code STAYNERDY, ship it together, which will give you 5% off that order. Also, for my manga lovers, I am a Right Stuff affiliate, so if you are planning on picking up any manga or any of the manga I'm about to talk about, to go ahead and head into the description, use my Right Stuff affiliate link because it is a great way to help support the channel, as well as the Organic Price Books codes, and I will be extremely thankful for you guys using either of those. But without further ado, let's jump into the haul itself. Starting how we typically start, which is of course with manga, and then we work our way into indies and then wrap up the haul with the big two. But let's go ahead and jump into it. First up for manga is Parasite Volume 3 in these deluxe full color edition volumes. This is a hardcover and it is completely in color, not just color pages, but full color through the entire volume. This is volume 3, so it does have an R on the side because they are going to be connecting spines that spell out the word parasite. I have also done a review on the first volume of this series, so I can leave that up above for those of you that are interested. But it is a very interesting story that has a lot of action, blood, gore, but also a lot of horror elements and kind of teen drama as well. So it's a very interesting manga title overall, and it is a more classical, old school style of manga as well, which I'm typically not a huge fan of, but I love this one. But let's head to the next manga volume. Next up is Tokyo Revengers Volume 5. These are 2-in-1, so technically this is volume 9 and 10. Great way to collect the series. I think this is the only way to collect the series physically, but it is such a interesting story. I don't know exactly what I was expecting when I read Volume 1, but I did put out a review, which I'll leave up above as well. And it is something 100% up my alley. It is a genre-bending style of story that has mystery elements, but also some drama and action. And it involves a character named Takamichi, who gets involved in not only street gangs, but also time travel at the same time. And then it explores the idea of how the butterfly effect can be used to the time traveler's advantage in a way. So it's such a interesting and thought out story. And even though me probably describing it sounded so confusing to you, the way it's told is not confusing at all. It is a great read. But that does wrap up manga, so we'll head to my indies. First up for indies is 8 Billion Genies by Image. This is written by Charles Soule. This is a very interesting concept of a comic pertaining to its story. This does have to do with everyone on Earth getting a genie of sorts that can pretty much do all of the same abilities and powers that all typical genies can do, but it is absolutely awesome. I have read a handful of issues, but I have not completed the series, so I'm extremely pumped to get into this. Haven't read this specific hardcover or put out a review yet, but you can definitely expect that on the channel coming up here very soon. Next up for my indies is Invincible in the Ultimate Collection hardcovers, volumes 4 and 5. I've said before in my other haul videos that this is going to be the format that I'm going to collect Invincible in, mainly because it is oversized and I love the look of these volumes in general. I love the feel of them. They're not as heavy as the hardcover compendiums, and they're not also just so jam-packed with issues either. But the hardcover compendiums are a great way to collect the series as well. This is just my preferred way, and I am slowly collecting it and getting very close to finishing this series in this format. I believe I have maybe 4 more volumes to actually complete all of Invincible, but this is one of my favorite titles ever. Robert Kirkman, Ryan Ottley telling their own style of superhero story, and it is full of action, romance, blood, gore, sci-fi elements, absolutely everything. It is borderline close to perfect in this comic book reader's opinion, and I am super excited to get it collected in the collection. And last but not least is a Rick Remender book, my favorite format that comic books could really ever be collected in because of the price and the way it looks, and that is A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance by Rick Remender. Such a beautiful book as far as the way that it's designed, the way anything he writes is designed, really. I do have a review on this book, which I will put up above if you're interested. This was something that piqued my interest, not only because it was by Rick Remender, but I saw that a lot of people were hailing it for its style of storytelling, which was very dialogue minimalist, or had minimal dialogue. I don't know if I'm saying that the right way, but it doesn't have a lot of dialogue, and it uses art to tell the story throughout the series. That's the right way to say it. And it's very interesting, such a great storytelling, or ambitious style of storytelling, rather, and it is definitely worth a read. You can watch my review if you kind of want to see my thoughts on it, but I do recommend you checking it out first and then maybe checking out the review afterwards. It does have very loose story elements, a lot of up for interpretation style of storytelling as well, so I don't want to get too into it. If you do want to see my thoughts, like I said, check out the review, but definitely read it for yourself because the art alone makes it worth having in the collection, especially in this beautiful format. But that does wrap up my indie titles, so we can go ahead and jump into the big two, starting with DC. First up for DC is Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, the hardcover. This is the second most recent event at DC. I believe Night Terror is what's going on right now, and then Lazarus Planet was before that, and this was before Lazarus Planet, so three events ago, 2 events ago. But it is in a lot of ways loosely a sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, has a lot of connections to what took place during that event, but also kind of twists it in a way and injects it with a lot of more modern characters and stuff along those lines. Don't want to give a full review here, but it is fairly interesting. A lot of people had a lot of problems with the storytelling elements and how it kind of felt a little all over the place, and even a lot of people feeling like it fell apart at the end. I overall think it came together at the end, but the beginning half kind of was all over the place, so I have a little bit of an opposite opinion on it than others, but still, it's an event. I love events. I'm going to always get books for events and add it into the collection, so happy to have it in the collection nonetheless. And then next up is the last event that took place before Night Terror at DC Comics, which is Lazarus Planet. I do actually enjoy this event. This has a lot of loose connections to one of my favorite comic book runs going on right now, which is World's Finest by Mark Waid, and it is very interesting. I actually like this hardcover more than the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths hardcover. Something about the page quality and the dust jacket just feels more high grade in my opinion. Maybe they dropped the ball a little bit on Dark Crisis, who knows. That's just my opinion, but this is definitely a lot of fun. I don't think it has as high of stakes as Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths or a Crisis event in general, but it is a still somewhat smaller event that took place at DC during this year of events that it's feeling like right now. And like I said, I love events, so I'm going to add it into the collection, but we can jump to the next book. Next up is AllStar Superman, the Deluxe Edition. Such a beautiful book and such a beautiful story. This is done by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. Frank Quitely being one of my favorite artists, and Grant Morrison being one of the most famous writers in all of comics, probably. And they absolutely put their foot in the storytelling. This is their best work, probably, other than New X-Men in my opinion. But this is such a great read for people that love Superman, people that don't love Superman. No matter how you feel about Superman, this is a essential read for the character, for DC Comics, for anything. If you even just like novels, you should just check out this book because it has such a absolutely beautiful story, and the storytelling throughout is incredible. It is just one of the most perfect Superman stories I've ever read in my life, and it's definitely worth a deluxe edition format, or if you can get your hands on the Absolute. I don't collect Absolutes, but if you do, that's the best way to get it because it is such a beautiful story that is worth that treatment. But that does wrap up All-Star Superman, so we'll jump to the next book. Next up, we have a DC Omnibus, which is always awesome to have in the haul because they are much more rare with omnibuses than Marvel. But this is the Detective Comics by Peter J. Tomasi Omnibus. This was actually a omnibus I almost passed on, believe it or not, but I am such a huge fan of Peter J. Tomasi, I decided to pick it up and go for it, whether I don't necessarily love or maybe like this run, but still decided to pick it up in omnibus format. But you can probably hear my thoughts on this specific book coming up here shortly, wink wink, because I am working on a review currently on this specific book, so you can expect that coming here very shortly. So I will hold my thoughts on the book itself for that specific video. But that does wrap up DC Comics, so now we can jump into Marvel. First up for Marvel is Secret Warriors, the Omnibus. You got Bendis, you got Hickman. This is kind of Hickman's introduction into Marvel and into writing his story that he continues writing during his entire tenure at Marvel, and it is great. It focuses on Nick Fury and his team of Secret Warriors, obviously, and you get introduced to a lot of smaller named characters, which makes it great for new readers. I do have a review on this book, which I can leave up above if you want to hear more of my thoughts. But the synopsis is, if you enjoy the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this is pretty much its inspiration or the comic book form of that. So definitely worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of Hickman as well. So check it out or check out my review. Next up is Captain America by Ta-Nehisi Coates, the Omnibus. One of the most beautiful omnibuses I've ever seen as far as the cover and the treatment. But I do have a review on this specific omnibus as well, so I'll leave that up above if you want more details on the book. But this is a very interesting post-Secret Empire Marvel world, and you get to see Captain America really pick up the pieces when it pertains to not only his image, but also the way the world looks at him and the way he looks at himself and what he represents. It has a lot of dialogue that goes into Steve Rogers' psyche and his mental space while being Captain America, and I very much enjoy this run. It is not my favorite run, but I do very much enjoy it. But if you want any more details, definitely check out the review, but we can jump to the next book. Next up is the Superior Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1. Fingers crossed for more volumes. I did do a review on this omnibus as well, so check up above as always. This is a very interesting play on the character of Spider-Man, where you do see someone take over the mantle of Spider-Man in a certain way. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't read it, check it out. But it does kind of flip the idea of the mantle swap or the death of a superhero, whatever it may be, on its head in a lot of ways, and plays with that concept as well. And you do have very early artwork by Ryan Stegman. It's not to the caliber that we saw in the Donny Cates Venom run, but still, it's Ryan Stegman. It's beautiful. It's such an interesting story. The history behind this story and the reaction by fans probably triumphs even the story itself, because it is so interesting and so almost funny sometimes to just see the way the community reacts and then recants its statements and then just falls in love with something. So definitely check out my review, check out this omnibus if you haven't already, and we can jump to the next book. And then we have the big boy, the Immortal Hulk Omnibus, first time printed, 1,616 pages of beautiful goodness. I just put out a review on this specific omnibus, which I will leave up above, but this is an essential read for a Marvel fan, a Hulk fan. Cannot recommend it enough. It is so great. It really catches you up to speed to not only the character of Hulk slash Bruce Banner, but also the history that involves that character and a lot of that character's supporting cast as well. It does pay off if you have prior knowledge on the character or runs and stories that involve the character, but still, it is great for beginners. It is great for old readers. It's great for just horror fans, superhero fans. It's great for everybody. Definitely check it out. Get your hands on it if you can. And I cannot recommend it enough. But that is the final book of our haul. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I cannot believe the love and support from each and every one of you tuning in week after week, month after month. I am completely speechless to each and every one of you guys. Just cannot believe this community that we are building together, and it's just so awesome to be a part of that. But just like with every haul, comment down below. Let me know what you guys picked up this month. What was in your personal haul? Also, let me know what was your top pickup of the month. What were you the most excited about this month? Or maybe what are you the most excited for next month? And most of all, let me know what I slept on and what I need to go back and pick up, because I am always looking for other recommendations or maybe books that I passed on because of money or because of timing or whatever it may be that I can go back, pick up, and add into the next haul. But other than that, if you are not a part of the Illuminati, hit that subscribe button to join the community. It is such an amazing place, and it's only becoming that much better and better. Also, if you do me a favor and hit that thumbs up icon, that would mean a lot. And if you did enjoy today's video, or maybe one of my reviews, and you want to be notified anytime content gets put out, hit that bell icon. That way you can get notified. But once again, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to hear from you guys in the comments down below. And of course, as always, stay nerdy.